Elden Ring Nightreign surprised me. Okay, so here's the thing. There's no way that I thought that roguelite elements would work in this game. You see, base Elden Ring and its DLC, the other Souls games, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Sekiro even, Bloodborne, and the Souls-like genre as a whole, they're all RPGs with a lot of established lore and gameplay. In those games, you want to inspect everything you can, looking up and down and all around for many sorts of things, like extra weapons, consumables, armor, enemies. You want to be thorough as you look through all these intricate places. You honestly never know what you might find. Now, converting something like Elden Ring to a roguelike game? I don't know. It just didn't really feel like it would work, to be honest. Well, I'm glad to be proven wrong. Elden Ring Nightreign turned out to be incredibly fun, specifically in a multiplayer environment. I normally play this game in duos or in trios with my friends. It is a multiplayer game after all. Even though they have patched the game to allow for duos and singles, I'm more interested in playing with other people. So for those of you that don't know, a typical Nightreign run goes like this. First, you pick your Night Boss and then your Nightfarer. On the screen where you pick your boss, you can actually see what the boss is weak to, allowing you to gauge what you should be aiming for when you're making your build. Then either you or you and your team drop in to the map. Now you can't really pick your destination, but you can sort of ping the map to let your buddies know, hey, this is where I want to go. AKA, we want to go to Tilted Towers.
Go to Tilted Towers. I don't actually play Fortnite. I don't know any other places.
Now that you and your buddies have dropped in, you now have 3 in-game days to try and go from boss to boss as quickly as possible. There might be some churches to hit on the way, but most of the time, every map layout is pretty much the same. Now, why is it 3 in-game days? You see, as the night progresses, your play area will start to become a lot smaller, and then eventually ending with the first boss night. And then you do day 2, and it's the same thing. Once day 3 hits, that's when you start to fight your selected boss. But as you're going from boss to boss, you'll pick up loot. Weapons with passives, consumables, talismans, each with an increasing rank and rarity, going from white to blue to purple, and finally to legendary yellow. Hopefully by the time you get to the 3rd day and fight your chosen boss, well, hopefully you got some good stuff. And hopefully your team also has some good stuff. It's all about coordinating with your teammates, dropping stuff that they would want. Hopefully they drop stuff that you would want. Though the communication in this game is kind of shit when you're playing with randoms, so, you know. That's a pretty typical run in Nightreign. Now, how does all of this work? There's something I forgot to mention about the other Souls games. The really important thing. The combat. And especially the boss fights. Every Souls player knows those 2 things are what makes the gameplay so fun. In your typical run of Nightreign, you're completely encouraged to go from boss to boss as quickly as possible. And what does that mean? You're fighting bosses all the time. Heck yeah. That right there, I think, is what makes this work so well. And with this game being a roguelike, you're not going to be fighting the same bosses every night. The only boss that you know is coming is the one that you selected at the start. In the first 2 nights, you could get something from Elden Ring. You can even get a boss from the old Souls games, which is pretty awesome. I've also neglected to mention, when you're picking up your weapons and talismans, to be on the lookout for any passives that might be on those weapons. It could be stuff like doing more damage while power stancing, or dealing more magic damage. You want to make sure you're grabbing the passives that fit with your character. Now, what's a roguelike without its permanent upgrades? Nightreign's permanent upgrades come in 2 forms: unlockable Nightfarers and the relic system. The two unlockable Nightfarers are the Duchess and the Revenant. While the relic system lets you play around with passives that are pretty similar to the ones you pick up from the weapons, allowing you to cater your build a little bit more. There are also character-specific relics that will help a particular Nightfarer do certain things as well. For example, a Wilder getting an extra usage on his grappling hook, or the Duchess, you can use a backstab and turn invisible for a couple seconds, just to name a few examples. However, the game isn't perfect. I want to give 2 suggestions this game could do to make it a little bit better. I think the one that we all can unanimously agree on is the game needs more. More bosses, more game modes, more Nightfarers, more weapon types, like in Elden Ring's DLC, the light greatsword or the long katanas, or tachis, whatever they're called there. Funnily enough, as I was recording this, there was a new game mode announced. But why stop at one game mode? Make more. I would love to see a game mode where we actually get to play through a legacy dungeon, but it's all randomized and everything like it normally would be. But instead of a big giant area, it's in the form of a legacy dungeon. I think that would be kind of cool. I kind of feel like there should be some new ways to permanently upgrade your game. One suggestion I have is the character-specific relics, why not make them more toggleable rather than on the relic itself? To bring up an example, instead of having it on a relic, the Wilder +1 grapple usage is something that you can unlock in his story instead of it being on a relic like it normally is. And have it be toggleable so that way if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. This gives way for other passives that you might want on your relics, rather than having them be stuck with the character-specific ones that you want or don't want. This entire suggestion might need a rework on the relic system. Having the Nightfarer unique relics be toggleable instead of being on a relic, I believe can lead to more diverse builds as you build out your characters. One more suggestion to add is maybe after a run, we get a certain amount of skill points, and we can use those skill points on the character that we use during the run to maybe add a stat in strength or in vigor. You know, like a regular Dark Souls level up. But instead of it being set in stone, you can actually have it be, okay, I'll put a couple points here, a couple points there, take away some there. Instead of that, the builds of the character remain the same, but maybe you can add a point on your Wilder to getting a little bit more FP. Or instead of FP, maybe you could put a point into Arcane to take advantage of the status buildups. This allows for a little bit more customizability, I think. My Wilder and your Wilder won't be the same. Sure, they have the same ultimate and they have the same grappling hook, but my Wilder might have a level on Arcane, while your Wilder might have more FP to spend on Ashes of War. I also feel like that there's certain Nightfarers that kind of got the short end of the stick, while the others are incredibly fun to play. Now, all of that is subjective, but can we all agree that Wilder is the most fun character to play? Now, what if we gave Wilder Sekiro parries like the Executor? We can't do that, obviously, but I feel like they need to add more substantial changes to the way that some of the character-specific relics work and what kind of bonuses they bring. But maybe that's a video for another time. In conclusion, I really like Nightreign. I never would have thought this would have worked, but I'm glad to be able to make this video and to share my thoughts on it. I hope that From Software learns from not only this game, but other roguelikes, as apparently the Dustbloods is gonna be the same thing as Nightreign. I have high hopes for it. Anyway, that's gonna be all for this video. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And also be sure to subscribe to my streaming channel, Phantom9300S, and follow me on all the socials on screen here. And until next time, guys, peace out.